Hello, Natasha.
Hello, Damien. It's the Lowbrow Lowdown.
Hey,
All right, let's get into it.
let's go.
We are up to episode 5
Hello, everyone.
of the Lowbrow Lowdown. We are talking about pandemic pros for our dear listeners, or listener, who knows.
There's a few. I get the stats. It's not that bad.
Oh, good. It's not just me listening to the same episodes over and over.
I mean, I feel like there might be a little bit of that from both
There's a
of
little
our
bit of that,
ends.
but that's okay. So we have to open up with a bit of a disclaimer. We said last week that we would be reviewing a different book than what we're actually talking about today. We were going to look at the Coronavirus Kink Club by B.R. Blank, but it was awful.
It was
so awful. Like, it wasn't even awful in not even a funny way. And Damien and I just realised we couldn't inflict it upon our audience.
We should say we recorded a whole
Oh,
podcast
we absolutely recorded the whole podcast.
and we got so angry at it.
So, and disgusting. Like,
And
I actually felt
disgusted.
nauseous.
Yeah.
Absolutely nauseous and triggered in other ways. It was unpleasant.
It was not a pleasant book to read. And
It wasn't, no.
yeah, and we got to the end of it. We just kind of went, I don't want to put this like very negative and angry thing into the world.
No, there's enough of that in the world. It ruins our brand.
I know, our brand is
so-
Wheeze Laughing.
Here we are talking about a completely different book, which we hope will amuse all of you. Damien, do you want to go ahead and talk about what we're reading? Let's start with the title.
Yeah, I'm looking at it and I'm trying to contemplate how
You've got to
I-
mentally put in the comments, otherwise it'll just not work.
So the title of this book is My Handsome Sentient Face Mask Protects Me Despite the Ridiculous Conspiracy Theories That He Won't. Also, He Pounds My Butt. And there are no commas in there, but you just have to add them mentally.
You have to mentally add them.
Yeah,
because-
the first 5 times I read this, I was like, what? It's by Chuck Tingle, who is a prolific writer
prolific.
in the
Actually,
sense of volume.
Can I jump in on my notes? I've got more notes about the stats about this writer than anything else. So this book is 36 pages long. 9 pages of it is the sentient face mask story, and that includes the cover art. 11 pages is a surprise bonus story, which we didn't know that we were
About
getting.
butt werewolves or something?
The Wereplane Butt Party. So this is about a wereplane. Think werewolf, but for a plane.
I didn't read
a
it.
man-
Should I have read
Yeah,
it?
no, I read it. But the man turns into a plane every full moon. It's fantastic. And then there's 16 pages, which is a list of all of the other books that Chuck Tingle has written. I mean, it's probably not all of the books that he's written, but it's so his self-promotion is greater than the story. And there's he writes a lot of books about sentient objects, locations, abstract concepts, days of the week, and so on. So can
And
I run through
sex.
some of the titles before
Yes.
we get into even what this book is about? I want to run through some of the titles. So I freed this handsome cargo ship from the Suez Canal, and now he's stuck in my butt.
And now it's stuck in my butt. Oh, the Ever Given.
The banana in my butt is a handsome lifeguard. The sun and the moon bang me bisexually. Okay, this one I really like because it was actually quite an abstract concept. So Damien is losing it.
I'm a
dying.
child. I'm sorry.
Pounded in the butt by the handsome physical manifestation of Trump's Twitter ban that should have come years sooner, but fine now that it's here. High five.
I know that we said that MJ Edwards writes to SEO, and we just spoke too soon. This is what writing to SEO looks like.
Hell yeah. This guy reads the news and goes, shit, here's a story.
I think he's just publishing
so
one every
is
day.
probably my favourite, although I haven't read, there were 60 plus books listed and I just thought, oh my God, I've just got to get a bit of a grab. But this one's really nice. Nice guy dinosaur doesn't pound me in the butt because I'm not interested. And he's not actually nice. He's just annoying and creepy and doesn't respect when I tell him we're not on a date.
That feels real. I feel
Let's
like
be real.
I think Nice Guy Dinosaur might be someone Chuck Tingle went on a date with.
There's a whole suite of books about sentient dinosaurs and planets and days of the week and Trump Twitters.
Yes, Trump, Tromp.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because,
very important.
Defamation laws.
Honestly,
sorry, I interrupted Damien. Let's go back to what the book's about.
Yes, I will save my comments for when we start reading the book. But we'll start with the blurb from Amazon, which now that I look at it, it's almost as long as the book. It reads, when Tyler meets his friend Mark at a local cafe during a global pandemic, he's horrified to witness his friend arrive without a face mask. Tyler is... We've all been there.
We hate Mark already.
Tyler is even more horrified to learn that Mark is an anti-mask conspiracy theorist who believes protective face masks are used by Bill Gates to track your blood.
No, it's Bill Gates.
Oh, Bill Gates. Oh, my God. I'm so sorry, Bill Gates.
We're going to get sued.
Bill Gates, correction, to track your blood and that wearing them will poison you with CO2. When Mark starts making a scene, it's the last straw, and Tyler quickly drops him as a friend, but not before Mark offers an ominous warning that mask won't protect you.
Dun, dun, dun. Dramatic music.
This is put to the test. It's still got more to go.
So the title of the book pretty much tells you what's going to
everything
happen
that
in the
happens.
book. I think one of my favorite, an aspect of this book that I really liked is that Tyler's favorite drink is a tall glass of chocolate milk. And having read the other book, that also features as a favorite drink. So, obviously now I'm going to go and read more just to make sure that that's a consistent little Easter egg that he puts in each of his books.
You did notice that at one point someone pours a glass of chocolate milk from the tap.
Out of the tap. Yes.
Did I take acid?
Chuck Tingle might have.
Seriously, that was my first thought. By the end of the second page, I was like, I might be high.
Michelle was high reading this.
Actually, look, not saying anyone's taking drugs, but reading this on pot would be quite an experience.
Reading it on acid.
Reading it on acid, I feel like I might get impaled by that non-binary unicorn from halfway through the book.
Yeah, that unicorn. The cafe worker.
Look, very progressive.
So the pandemic that's in the book it's called the trotting plague.
Is this like a swine flu kind of?
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
I assume it's just like face mask is the SEO he's writing to, and everything else is kind of original ideas.
He does seem pretty on board with the fact that face masks work. He hasn't, as a writer, I'm talking, and comparing this to the first book that we reviewed, where it was quite clear that the author didn't seem to agree. I don't know. I feel like the author didn't seem to agree with the public health measures that were in place, whereas this one was like, there's consensus that mask wearing reduces transmission of the trotting plague.
Yeah. There is kind of like an A storyline and a B storyline somehow of, so he's talking about his mask and we're currently in a global pandemic. Simultaneously, there's a Billings killer of some kind.
The Billings Butcher.
The Billings Butcher, who is just Jason from Friday the 13th.
Oh my God, so lazy.
It's like hockey mask, tattered clothes, machete.
Giant.
It is literally Jason from Friday the 13th.
And in that same trope of the bad guy just being in your rearview mirror no matter how fast you run, he's there wherever you run to.
Just walking at a brisk pace.
Yes.
But so I guess the blurb gives it away, but the premise of the book is that Mark shows up at the cafe. They have a weird confrontation. And
that's right, because Mark goes into a bit of a conspiracy rant where...
Yeah, and it's like it's everything you know that they would be saying with very minor shifts. It's like if someone's mum is like almost up with the lingo of the young people today, but for conspiracy theories. So it's like it's just off.
Yeah, it's very Facebook ready, I think.
Yeah, there's a really good example of it. He's saying the government can track you, and he says, "Do you mean Trump?" And he goes, "No, Trump isn't part of the government."
Yeah, that's what the secret government.
Yeah, I mean, like the secret government Mark offers, the shadow state, the deep group. What's the 411? Like it's just off enough. But there's a confrontation. Mark gets up to buy a drink, but because he's not wearing a mask, they refuse service. And
he goes all sob-sit.
Yeah.
Doesn't he?
He really does. It's like
ranting over his human rights.
Yes, it's like not the Magna Carta, but an equivalent of the Centre for Human Breathers.
Yeah. And I'm gonna. This is probably the time in the book where I'll pull out my excerpt.
Oh yeah.
So while Mark is at the counter ranting at the Unicorn who serves coffee, Mark's a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
Tyler is our guy. So Tyler's looking at the window. He gazes out of the window of the coffee shop, watching as the sun begins to set on the horizon and the sky blooms with a glorious display of purples and oranges. It's a brief moment of mental peace after trying to deal with Mark's inane ideas. But this is not a vacation that's built to last. It's not the erotic part of the book. As I've been reading more of these books, I've noticed that the bits that appeal to me are those moments where the main character seeks out moments of beauty and joy, and that's something I think I've been trying to do in my own dealings with the pandemic that we're all living. I absolutely love pandemic and dystopian fiction in books and TV series. Trashy zombie movies are what's getting me through at the moment. Cannot get enough.
Really?
I love them. It's just ridiculous.
Oh, this is a sidebar we need to get into because I love zombie films.
I love them. It's just, they're so terrible, but they are just like, look, if we think we're living in hell, at least we're not dealing with that. But again, in those type of stories, there are moments where people find joy, beauty, and calm and mental peace. And that's extremely relatable. And I think I related really well to Tyler here. This is, it's a very funny book, but it's well written and relatable. Like the character.
I understand what you mean.
I see myself in Tyler. But there are those, those bonkers Facebook relatives that I've got. Unfortunately. I know they're not listening.
Yeah.
I can see Mark in them.
It's further to that point. I think those are the moments in all of these books so far that are the best writing, because good writing, like really good writing that captures you, is the stuff that gives you something that you can only get from knowing what's going on inside that character's head. And so there's a lot of this writing, while it's pacey and easy to follow and quite entertaining, is very tell rather than show. Like he's just like, then this happens and this happens, and I see him notice this, and it's sort of like, how? But that moment is like a moment of really good writing that makes you.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's that line where he says, "But the vacation wasn't meant to last." That's a really nice kind
That's
of. I felt
that's
that.
a
Like,
very smart sentence. I just thought, it just says so much in just a few words. It's just his little slam back into reality. It's like, he's got this tedious friend. He's in a horrible situation. He has to wear a face mask, but that's all. We understand all of that just with that sentence. It's very well written.
It's probably the best writing of the book. That one little moment.
Yeah. Okay.
From there.
So let's go there.
Well, Tyler finishes his chocolate milk, retrieves his face mask, leaves the unicorn a tip because they have just dealt with his awful now ex-friend. So he's dropped Mark as a friend. Like, not in any kind of we're not friends anymore. Mark just wanted him to leave with him and he just said no, and then Mark left and Tyler's accepted. Yeah. And he's walking home and it's like the sun's going down and he's not keeping an eye out for the Billings butcher. And he sort of sees something in the distance and he thinks it might be Mark coming to play a prank on him, which it's a bit weird, but, your mind goes places. But he realizes it's someone too big and they get closer and he can see the hockey mask and the machete. Actually, I've missed the most important part. He goes out, he leaves the cafe. There is no magical sentience to this face mask. The face mask is just sentient. So he leaves the cafe and the face mask says, "Are you okay?" And the face mask has a name. What is it? Like
Trimble.
Tribble.
Trimble.
Trimble, yes.
Not Tribble. That's a... Yeah, no. The mask... Oh, yeah, sorry.
So he walks out and the face mask says, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, like the title alone gave us the idea that this face mask is sentient. But
I thought that there was going to be a moment of the face mask becoming sentient.
But no, it just asks, "Hey, are you okay?" It's like, oh, okay, that was a bit out of left field.
Well, it's like not introduced as explaining anything. It's just, "Are you okay?" asked Trimble. Trimble was the name of my sentient face mask. It's like, shit, right, okay.
And he was really touched that Tyler would stick up for him for being safe and effective.
So yeah, the Billings butcher is coming towards him. They try and run away, but he rounds a corner and the Billings butcher is there, but closer.
Somehow.
And he tries to run away again. He falls, and as
the machete is being raised to strike a blow,
his face mask flies off his face and then lands a right hook somehow.
Amy and I just shrugging at each other saying, "How the fuck?
Where did the right hook come from?"
So yeah, this face mask suddenly has arms and he's throwing punches. And Tyler gets away. Gets home.
Yeah, the face mask is like, get out of here. You go, I'll be okay. And he's locks himself in his second floor apartment and is looking out the window, and who should emerge but face mask. I've already forgotten his name. Trimble?
Trimble. I looked it up. It means nothing.
Trimble returns and pours himself a glass of chocolate milk from the faucet.
From the faucet, yes. He drinks. Yeah.
So chocolate milk flows like water.
It's like a 5-year-old's dream.
A quick side note before we segue into what's about to happen after Trimble has his chocolate milk. This is written like a children's book, kind of, but with quite graphic sex. And it's sort of, as I was reading, I was like, "Oh, chocolate milk. This is like no.
Nope.
And
and then they realize that they're drinking the milk. They realize they're attracted to each other, and then my notes just that I don't really need to get into the sex scene, but the mask and Tyler bang. So they bang.
No, I'm going to get into the sex scene because that's where my expert is.
So we're now entering the area of Damien's expertise.
You might have just heard my dog in the background. She's rolling around, going
Sound effects.
Yes, so
Sorry, can I? Sorry. He'd always been attracted to the mask, to the face mask, but their relationship. This
isn't my excerpt.
No,
No,
always seemed quite too utilitarian.
So there's I kind of want to read my excerpt. So they start getting hot and heavy, as you do with your sentient face mask, and it's never entirely clear the form that this takes.
No, I did. There are references to his cloth chest and abs.
This is about where I'm gonna
and a collarbone, but then he floats.
Yeah,
and it's like, what? Okay, so you let's hear your excerpt, and we'll take it from there.
I'm deciding where I start because it's all pretty gross. So I'm going to apologize in advance, but.
Again, here's a content warning.
Yeah, this is not for cunt.
No small ears nearby, please.
No small ears. Earmuffs. Trimble let out a long, satisfied groan as I begin to stroke him, pumping my grip slowly up and down along his length. I can tell he likes this not just from the audible tones escaping from between his lips, but because of the way that he rocks his hips against me. The two of us quickly fall into sync with one another, locked in as a pleasure begins to build. Still, I want more. And while the hand job is plenty of fun, I find myself yearning to feel his handsome face mask's cock between my lips. Soon enough, I'm slipping down the length of Trimble's body, kissing along his cloth chest abs, and then eventually arriving at his massive face mask dick. And the reason that this is my excerpt is because it feels like the author is describing a Muppet.
Oh my gosh, that's exactly it. That's it. It's like, so it'd be like kissing a towel or something. It's just...
It's like sucking on a sock or something.
There is a form, but then the texture. It's a Muppet.
It's a Muppet.
Yes,
this man is fucking a Muppet.
Oh, I'm not sure I want to Google sexy Muppet.
No.
So I won't. But...
Well, because do you remember Crank Yankers?
Oh, God damn it. What is that?
It's this, I think it's still made today. It is a TV show and it's a whole bunch of, I can't remember if they're making prank calls.
Oh, that was on really late at night.
Yeah, but there are Muppets that work in a phone sex line, and people call them, and they're like, they pull out their pendulous, springy tits, and and I was reading it, and I'm going, this sounds like I can see this playing out as an episode of Crank Yankers somehow, even though it's not on the phone. It just,
There's a Melbourne produced. We'll post the link in the on our Twitter at Lowbrow Lowdown. It's called Tinder Tales, and it's a Melbourne produced series on YouTube that is people's real life Tinder tales, but it's presented by
animation
type creatures, and it's extremely funny. The stories are funny, and it's just these quite hilarious date or sex stories told by, what do you call them? Puppets? Yeah, whatever. Yeah,
are they're not sock puppets, or is that my imagination?
No, not sock puppets. Damien and I are doing puppet gestures. Quick. Sorry.
The sex. Do you know what? Like the show don't tell. There's still a bit of tell there, but when it gets into the sex, the writing improves. It's like
this. Yeah,
it's like porn. Like, the pre-story is just a kind of.
It's just
it's perfunctory. It doesn't really matter. What matters?
It's the sex. SEO that gets you to the.
Some of it's quite graphic, and there's puckered holes and all sorts of things, and a reasonable description of gay sex. Like, if we ignore the fact that it is a cloth penis, there is no lube used whatsoever, which is very concerning.
And he talks about discomfort.
Yes.
So it's like, oh, buddy, you've got a faucet full of chocolate milk. Surely there's something else on there that can help out.
Also, like a bottom that subsists on a document.
Like really absorbent, so, taking away any moisture.
Ooh. But also a bottom that subsists on a diet of chocolate milk is not ready to go.
Just hope they don't have any lactose intolerance.
Yeah, look, that's there's hopefully quite a lot of Metamucil has been on the cards. Sorry, Natasha. I just feel like I saw you like dry retch slightly.
Just laughing.
There is one other thing. I kind of want to read it as an excerpt purely because of how it dramatically feels to me.
Look, if we don't like it, we can edit it out.
That's true. So the sex is evolving. There, it's gotten to anal penetration, and it's coming to a climax. And
Two puns, good.
yes, there is just a line where it says, "That dick feels so good. That dick feels so good." I repeat over and over again. The blissed out mantra starting as a whisper and then escalating to a belligerent roar. That dick feels so good.
Belligerent.
Belligerent roar. Like,
very
ooh.
angry.
Yeah. Yeah, I might edit that out because that's embarrassing, but that's how it's written. And it's like...
No. I think you should leave it. Tell us the story.
I was like reading it and going, whoa.
I didn't pick up on the word belligerent. I kind of did gloss over it a little bit.
I mean, it's. I read it in 3 minutes maximum.
It's a very short book.
Yeah, I mean the last.
This when I got it, I thought, oh yeah. I tapped on the Kindle app. I thought, oh, it's 36 pages. That's great. Getting a good solid read. But it's like, no, it was how long? 6 pages?
Yeah,
no,
like
9 pages.
Everyone.
Or one of those. So it's 8 pages. It was a very short book.
Yeah, it's super short. Everyone comes, and then there's a list of other books he's written and a bonus book.
The bonus book is quite funny. You should give that one a go as well.
I like sort of left it. I went, I've got other stuff to do, but nighttime reading.
Yeah. This guy arrives at an airport and wonders why this man gets such special treatment, and then he sees him at a local bar, and he takes him into the woods, and he thinks he's going to get murdered, but it's his little secret shack where he turns into a airplane once a month. So the visual, I mean, he describes it like, one thing about this book, even though we can't quite picture what a cloth face mask body looks like, I did get a sense of form, and I think he describes it pretty well.
It feels weird, but that's kind of the book, but it was so short.
It was so short.
It was
so short.
Here's the thing. He's a Hugo Award winner or nominee, and the Hugo Awards are prestigious.
Something, yeah.
Like, Doctor Who episodes win Hugo Awards.
I mean, he's 2-time Hugo Award finalist. So he hasn't won.
Finalist.
He's been a finalist, but let's have a quick look at how do you win a Hugo Award? I'm going to Google this.
Because I'm a huge nerd,
You already look it up.
Well, no, it's just I sort of keep an eye out for the Hugo Awards each year because often nerdy things are like win things.
It's a sci-fi annual literary award for the best sci-fi or fantasy work and achievements of the previous year, given at the World Science Fiction Convention and chosen by its members. How is,
I am pretty sure that Neil Gaiman has won a Hugo Award.
That's amazing. Is he making it up? You can't just make.
He might be.
Up, can you?
I'm sure we can check. Did he say what years he was a finalist?
No,
Ah.
not at all.
Oh, 2 years, 2016, 2017. Let's have a look.
Let's have a look at those books. I mean, I wonder whether they're not these books.
Oh, Best Fan Writer. He was a finalist for that. I guess that's a category.
Is that a
Maybe it's like
fan fiction? Oh.
I don't know. Look, this could turn into a very long, deep dive into.
Excuse me, and potentially boring.
So, on to ratings out of 5 face masks.
Well,
sentient face mask today.
I know, lots of face masks. So, I don't know. I think I'm going to give it a solid 4.5. It was good writing, albeit quick, but the writing was good, and I really liked Tyler.
Yeah, it was an enjoyable read. I think I'm going to look up some other books.
Well, if you scroll to the end, the list, they're all linked, so you better just click on any book that strikes your fancy and get into it.
Perfect. It's a good marketing ploy because it was like, so I'm similar to you. Like, I think 4.5 marks out of 5. It was a really easy, fun read. It's a bit kooky. Felt like it was a bit of an acid trip.
A bit kooky.
Yeah.
A tiny bit.
But it wasn't offensive. And maybe like because the episode that shall not be named was so awful. Like,
so awful.
It just,
like, we don't even recommend you go and hate read it. It was just
it was bad. It was bad on so many levels and really gross and just nah.
No.
But this was lovely. Like, even the weird cloth penis, I was like, this is great. I'm totally on board with cloth penises now.
Oh, I'm just imagining a flannel embroider.
Oh my God.
It's just awful.
We were a family that grew up without air conditioning. And so, like on a hot summer's night, you'd put a flannel in the freezer over, like during the day. Yeah.
Yes.
That's the cold frozen flannel is the current image I have. I kind of think that's it. Like this,
I think that's it. I mean, it was a pretty short book, so there's not much to say. I mean, we probably said more about the writer than we normally would do, but that's because of his amazing French for me. No, it's like he just sounds like he churns out these books, probably a couple a week.
Yeah, I mean, really, and look, I mean, if at least a few people each week are reading them, they cost like $5 each. He could be making some decent money with these.
We could. Look, Damien, I think we should write a book to SEO just to see how it goes.
Oh, maybe that's like where this ends up.
I think this is where this might end.
It'd probably be a disaster.
All right, so tell us what you think. Should we get people to email us and tell us what you think about today's episode and any other episode you've been listening to? Email us at lowbrowlowdown@gmail.com or follow us at Twitter at lowbrowlowdown. Let us know. And obviously give us a 5-star review on any of your listening apps.
Wonderful. And then thinking about next week. So next week's episode is we're sort of, I think, heading back into the territory of MJ Edwards in a way. So our next one is called Courting the Coronavirus, a positively viral love story by Lee Taylor. And I'm excited.
I used to work with a Lee Taylor.
Oh, like I assume it's a pen name.
I'm assuming it's a pen name. So I did Google. Surely not, and no.
Just like text them. Did you write erotica about the coronavirus? I mean, Pretty sure we'll need to come up with pen names, obviously, to do our right. I assume, are we writing erotica? No.
Oh. No. We just said, no.
Oh.
We could. We could each bring a unique perspective.
That's true.
So.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Thanks,
Ooh.
everyone. Stay safe. Get vaccinated.
Please get vaccinated if you can.
Don't
That
go
would be
near any
amazing.
Muppet dick.
Stay away from Muppets. Stay away from Jason on street corners.
Yes, yes. Look, he wasn't called Jason. We probably should protect Chuck
No,
Tingle's
sorry.
clear
Yeah.
avoidance of any kind of copyright law in describing the exact monster from Friday the 13th, but calling him the Billings Butcher.
The Billings Butcher. All right.
But I
All right.
don't.
See you next week, Damien.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.